There's no doubt that that the big clubs, I would say, in Europe are more present now in Africa than they if you go back 5 years.
Yeah.
That there's no doubt about that. You have more eyes. We see where our scouts was, for example, alone on certain games. He's definitely not alone anymore.
Mm.
Um, so that has increased, but I still don't think that they want to do the work kind of what we have done, because it's not so easy just to start an academy. I mean, if you go back in the history of Ghana, Ajax tried it, Red Bull tried it. They both, sorry, not Ajax, Feyenoord tried it, and Red Bull tried. They both failed, and they both closed the academy because it's not so easy. You have to do it in a very long-term way where you respect the local setup, where you kind of work with the local communities, with the village to give back
Yeah.
before you get the respect. And that's a long journey. That's not something you do in 1, 2, 3 years. Where I think the classic European mindset would be to go in quickly and see if we can squeeze out
Mm.
one or two good players,
Mm.
and that's not going to work for them. So I still think that we would be proud, to be honest. We if someone wants to copy what we do, that's there is actually an academy in Uganda that is opened by a Danish guy who used to be employed by us, and in some way we don't see it as a competitor. We are proud that
Mm.
someone took that knowledge and that purpose and brought it to life for other kids, so more kids can have opportunities. So, but I still don't think the big clubs are so interested in investing in that. They are more present to see if they can find like a few jewels and
Yeah.
then go back.
Yeah, because I suppose like you say, it's not easy. You guys have been there 25 years, so you've been putting in making those connections, and with the local communities as well. So,
It's
um,
a lot about trust.
yeah,
Also with even setting up a sweep, for example, in a village, it's not something you just do. It's a
yeah,
lot about trust and relationship and knowing the local people, knowing the local culture,
yeah,
and knowing the families as well. You're also asking, and I know a lot would say that it's a big opportunity for a kid to join Right to Dream, but it's also a big decision for a family to say, yes, my kid at the age of 11, 12 years old will move into a campus. They do it, of course, because they know this is a great chance in life for that kid, but it's still down to relationships and trust.
yeah. And so when I speak to other like from a scouting perspective here, man. So like when I talk about that, I mean like video scouting and data and things like that. I suppose that is. I mean, what's that like in Africa? I suppose that would be less so than in Europe. Like there's less video available, less data of these players available. So I suppose that just makes it all harder.
Yeah, you need to be present is the main thing.
Mm.
And again, relationship, knowing which local academies or private academies has good setup, knowing the coaches there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's again being present for a long time is the most important. But it is growing, to be honest. There are now softwares trying to tap a little bit into, for example, showing the Tanzanian under 16 league and stuff like that. So of course it will come.
Mm.
But in terms of data, we still we normally say that we are information driven, not data driven, because I mean, let's just use logic. If you're going to buy a house or buy a car, wouldn't you like as much information as possible before you made your decision? I think we can all logically say, of course. It's the same for a player, right? Wouldn't you just, is it objectively, is it subjectively, is it someone that he went to school with that can talk about his character? Is it a objective video analysis of his interceptions? We take it all because it's all about getting as much information as possible before you make your decisions. That's how we use data. We don't like it's not a driver for us. It's just part of the information if we can have access to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a kind of a prediction question, Mads, and so for the next kind of 10 years or so, 10, 15 years, you mentioned the population growth is projected in Africa. So where do you see African football kind of developing and changing over the next decade or so, and how will Right to Dream be a part of that?
No, hopefully it will continue. I think we are on a pretty good track. I think we now I speak about Right to Dream, but of course more, let's say more either Right to Dream presence in other African countries or more similar projects. I know FIFA has done something as well on the after Arsene Wenger joined, and then they kind of try to set up these. It's not an academy; it's more. I think they call it a training center.
Yeah.
So, but they have the same. I saw at least a video of Wenger where I can see he actually articulates almost like right to dream language, that want to create opportunities. Everyone should have a chance, the fair chance to develop, etc. So I think the more focus we can have on that, the better, because there's still so much unfulfilled potential in Africa, and I still think it's going forward the most. And I'm not talking here cynically football, I also mean education wise, that imagine so many people, what you can potentially, what they can, if you add up to the educational level, what potential Africa can have. And I think that's still the most interesting continent going forward.
And we still haven't had an African World Cup winner, have we? So I suppose that's probably somewhere down.
No, that's a little bit back to what I said. That's kind of a bias that we keep telling ourselves that, oh, you see, they're not good enough. But we also keep them in that position. We don't help them.
Yeah.
Keep them down there, and then we kind of say every 4 years, yeah, you see, they're still not ready. Of course, they're not ready, because you already stamped them, and you locked them from having the same opportunities. So that's still the main problem.
Yeah.